Good afternoon, everybody who is here. And I think we're live on YouTube
Yep.
already. Very good. Start us up, Jesse. And hit that live there next to it at the bottom. There you go. Infinite Banking Q&A. Perfect. Okay. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is our weekly. It is our weekly.
Every Thursday.
Every Thursday, Ask Me
3:30.
Anything. We're going to walk and talk through your questions, comments, and concerns, and make sure you're refreshed on what this process is all about. Here at the Cash Compound, it's Jay-Do and Jesse here in studio. It's the Ask Me Anything hour. So 3:30 Eastern time. We're in South Carolina. For those of you who are elsewhere, throw in the chat for those of you who are on our YouTube channel or on our Zoom call. On Zoom, you get all the specialties. You get the highlights. You get the slides. We're going to be going to some slides if you guys want to today. Throw in the chat where you are Zooming in from.
Nice to have the face-to-face interaction.
We love it. We love it. And in just a moment, we're probably going to be live on our TikTok channel, the Cash Compound TikTok channel over here. What's up, everybody? Welcome. If you like, love, or learn something on TikTok, as I always say, give us a double tap and give us a heart out here. If you guys like my origami, I love to keep the money that I make. There it is. Okay, so there it is. Sean likes it. He's smiling behind that beard somewhere. It's one of your boys here, Jesse.
I love it.
All right. All right, Chawana, good afternoon. And, oh, you guys are using the chat here? Let me get it in the right place so I can see you. Okay, Pensacola, Florida. All right. Roebuck, South Carolina. We've got somebody coming down from Gaffney tomorrow who's going to be in, for those of you South Carolinians. Recently, we've had a lot of love from our local community. I mentioned that.
Yep.
A real estate group. Who we were able to present to, Jonah and I. When I say we, a lot of times, I mean the coaches here and my brother's included in that. So love it. If you have questions, comments, concerns, a lot of people on TikTok will. Why don't we tilt this down a little? There we go. Very good. And you can ask them. Please do interrupt us. Ask us questions. That's what this hour is for. Many of our workshops are not fully interruptible. Depending on where you're coming from, this one is. So you can get into the questions that you want answers to. Okay?
Mimi from Texas on YouTube. Hey.
What's up? Mimi from Texas. Where in Texas? This ain't Texas. I was just singing that for you.
Yeah, you were.
You didn't know I could sing. Okay, this is where it's a little goofier of an hour here, but we can definitely get into the slideshow, the presentations, the 1, 2, 3. I'll give you my story again. About 10 years ago, both Jesse and I have that time frame under our belt that's very similar, but about 10 years ago, someone taught me or challenged me first with the idea that my money could be stored in an environment that was way more efficient to me than any other thing I probably knew or heard about. They taught me really, truly how to pay myself first. Now, I'd heard that term before. I had read Robert Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I realized, I got to pay myself first before I work for the government and pay them taxes, before I work for the long-term traditional financial planning approach where someone else had my money and I couldn't use it until I was 59 and a half without penalty. I had heard things like that before, but I was just paying cash for everything. So I was actually taking my dollars in, putting them in the conventional bank account on the corner, PNC, TD, RBC, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, and Chase. And then my dollars were gone by the next week. That's what I was doing with my dollars. Double tap on the screen if that's what you do. 99% of your money goes into someone else's third-party for-profit bank, or it's gone for taxes or locked up till you're 59 and a half. If that's what you are doing, you're part of the majority. Congratulations, you're doing it wrong. You don't even realize it because everyone else does it. Jesse, how were you? Where were you in life when you were challenged with the idea of what we call the save and spend system, or you first heard about infinite banking?
Yep. So the same year that I heard about the concept, I was a teacher in the state of North Carolina. My wife had given birth to our second son, and I'd launched a business. So this idea of pay yourself first was new to me. And I walked in on learning about the save and spend system with conventional debt. So I had student loans, I had a car note, I had credit cards, I had all those things. We had about $50,000 in debt. So I was already on a trajectory of changing some habits.
Okay.
But I didn't get anything like the structure and, of course, the power that I did until I implemented infinite banking.
Okay. So Infinite banking, what is it and how did you get into that conversation? We want to know some of that stuff from you, especially our Zoom audience. A lot of you have already engaged with us. That's why you found this pre-registration opportunity. For those of you on YouTube who have not engaged with us like that, you can. And if you're on the Zoom, we definitely have more chances to get you some particular information and some visuals on this particular weekly call.
Yep.
For those of you on TikTok out there on the Cash Compound channel, lots of times this may be a random chance that you found us. We hope that you decide it's not random. You're going to stick around for a while and learn how to save your money and spend money at the exact same time. That's what we teach here and preach here. If you want to follow along, click right about there.
There you go.
There you go. The Cash Compound logo right there. Click that top left corner of my screen. Maybe it's top left of yours as well. Click the Cash Compound logo. Follow us on our channel. And we have got a free consultation and video, a 55-minute walkthrough video for you to help you understand what in the world is infinite banking and how does it work. We specialize as experts of setting up these custom designed insurance policies of all crazy things. That's what I was told 10 years ago. Insurance policies properly designed from the right type of company. I never, like, what type is this? Like, what do you mean?
Insurance
Jake at State Farm?
Insurance, isn't it?
Yeah, it's insurance is Jake at State Farm.
Names.
Yeah, Flow Progressive. Is it the Nationwide or Allstate guy who's got the Band-Aids all over his face? Like, what are you guys talking about? But it completely changed my financial perspective and my financial life and future for at least 2 generations just because of what I've already done. Nelson, good afternoon out there on YouTube. Welcome back. Nelson, good to see you back, my friend. Okay, so if you are on Zoom, we're going to start out with you guys being able to ask your questions. So for our friends who are on Zoom right now, if you have questions, comments, and concerns, you can throw them in the chat now. I know some of you are beyond step 1 of just learning, hey, what this is for maybe the first or second time. And so if you guys have questions, we want to lean in to anything that you've got.
I think we got our first one on TikTok, and somebody just chimed in right there. Man jumped in on the company question because we brought it up. So the question was asked, which company is best? So there's not just one company that's best per se. I own policies from multiple companies, but it's the type of company that's the most important. So we use mutual life insurance companies that at least have a 100-year track record of consistently, both of those, paying dividends. So there are a few companies that match those qualifications. So it's the type that matters.
Yes, I always say that it's the type, and he said it best, mutual that pays dividend, long-standing tradition for that. Number 2 is what did we buy from them? They may sell several different things.
Yes.
Right? Are we buying gum in the lobby by the register? Are we buying peanut butter and jelly on aisle 13? Are we buying whole life insurance from them? They may sell other things. They probably do. So whole life insurance is the kind of insurance that's guaranteed, as I say, to grow in cash flow. Guaranteed to grow in cash flow. So what we buy from them is important. The reason we buy from that style of company is because of guarantees and dividends. And then number 3, what we do specifically as cash consultation coaches. That's what we call ourselves around here. Everything's alliterated. So the coaches around here set the policies up on purpose, custom.
Yeah.
Custom for cash value, use of the dollars from the jump, from the get-go, right from the beginning.
And if we can, we'll roll into the second question. So B. West asks, and I think that flows right into what J.D.'s describing, because when that policy's set up, we expect you, we coach you, we teach you, we share best practices on how to use that policy for infinite banking. So the question B. West asks, can you elaborate on percentage gained versus percentage paid on a loan from the policy? So just to walk that out a little bit, when a policy's been built this way with the right kind of company and you've learned how to use this policy, we get access to capital from policy loans. And the insurance company is going to charge an interest on that. And we've got a lot of control on how that loan's repaid. But if we dial in specifically on gained versus paid, let's do that, JD. What kind of context would you like to give it? Car purchase, for an example. That's an example from our presentation.
It is. One of the first things that people do, and we encourage them to do, or at least we ask and we poke and prod, is actually, can you get out of your debt? Do you have consumer debts that we need to get out of? But if you're going to finance something, all the same. Money doesn't care what it's spent on. Let's just figure out where it's going and from which way it's flowing. So if I'm answering the question, okay, what we're going to get into here is we're going to leverage the money we purchased from the insurance company. Our premiums, if we're ever using the 3-cup setup around here, check out our videos to see the 3 cups. The money that we put in is called premium to an insurance company, life insurance or car insurance, premiums. And premiums buy their money at an insurance company. Premiums buy their money. It's going to be the policy money. It's going to be the payout. It's going to be the guarantees if we file a claim. Life insurance, the claim is death, okay? So we give them premium. We buy their money. It's called death benefit. And we're going to leverage against that death benefit. The today value, the net value of that is called cash value. We can borrow that. Our money's still in the game. We're going to borrow their money. We just bought their money with the policy. We're going to leverage that. And our money is still going to be getting the guarantees. Some of the guarantees are it just doesn't go down and backward. It's not an investment. It's insurance. Another one of the guarantees is it's earning compound interest. So when we borrow from a third party, we're going to be assessed interest against the money we purchased. That's death benefit. We're going to be assessed interest against the money we purchased. Big O number of money we purchased, but our money's still earning. So the death benefit is actually climbing. The cash value is getting bigger, even though we're assessed interest against it while we borrowed money out. Now I'm going to suggest you pay that money back with interest. But we often show that in our 3-cup setup once again. And if you have not seen our full presentation, just click right up there, follow us, go to that page, and there's a link tree link. Middle of the page, one link to rule them all. Okay, click that link and then watch the video, okay?
I like that reference.
I knew you'd like that one. Okay, Sean liked it too. Sean is just like you. He's got the beard. He's out here, Lord of the Rings, Hobbit, and all that goofy stuff. Okay, very good. Okay, let me check in with my Zoom audience here and see what they had to say.
All right, well, when you're ready, we got a question.
Well, Jesse says something to, Sean says something to you, Jesse. So let's read it. Jesse, I just recently listened to your episode on withdrawals and recurring expenses. Can you tell me a little bit more if it's possible to use it for general monthly expenses and not so much the larger purchases, meaning using a credit card and paying it off on a monthly basis?
Gotcha. Very cool. All right. So that I appreciate that specific feedback too, giving me the episode. I think that's an episode from 2.5 years ago. I mean, it's been a good while, so appreciate that.
Remind you of the shelf life of YouTube. Keep making it. Sean's watching. I
know.
He's watching.
And that is one of the more popular videos on the channel. So, but you could be talking about a more recent one because I revisited it too. But either way, so I've really adopted this infinite banking, this save and spend, as a lifestyle. And we've gotten to the point, I'm not talking about grocery money, right? We're never really talking about gas money. But does it have to be something, and I'll give you an example that we've used our family banking system for, is property taxes. You know, and that could be a bigger ticket item, but it's also one that we expect, one that I know what the amount's going to be, unless it goes up a little bit, so I can plan for that, and I can use our banking system to accommodate that. But it doesn't have to just be something that I pay once a year. It could be something that I pay once a month. So my good friend Robin Washington gave me this the other day. You know, one thing that she did was she found out all the things that she has monthly subscriptions for. And almost all these companies, you know, offer some discount if you pay once a year and you save 10%, 20%. Well, if you walk that out over a dozen subscriptions, I'm saying that that's something, right?
Yeah.
So there's one good example, and you can extrapolate that out however you want, because the idea here is to become your own banker. But there's some monthly expense, right, that you anticipate. It's regular, it's ongoing, and you could be keeping more money by paying up front, because it's a lesser amount, and then that leaves you with more capital for other great things to do with your lifestyle or business or investing or whatever you want to do. So I thought that was a real neat example.
I remember hearing about that from our friend Richard in Canada. Okay. And he was walking some of his clients through that same thing. By the way, you can do this process in the U.S. or Canada with mutual insurance. Canada has a few different rules and tools because they have a different system in Canada, but there are several great companies you can do this with. So we have a friend in Canada who's also a mentor and advisor for people who are doing this. And yeah, he was telling me the same thing. He walked a client through $2,000 less in expenses.
How cool.
By changing everything. First off, without a policy, just making sure she understood. Go annual on your subscriptions. Go annual on everything.
Yeah.
And then what if we financed all of that by borrowing against your policies? So now you're going to be able to pay for your subscriptions that are a little bit cheaper maybe.
Yeah.
With OPM. Who knows what that means? OPM, the insurance company's money for you. Remember, we're buying their money and leveraging it now. It pays for your Netflix. And it pays for your Kahoot. For those of you who use Kahoot out there, maybe your kids know what it is. They're going back to school, so they know what Kahoot is. And your Paramount Plus and your whatever else. So let's pay those annually, and then let's finance it through your policy.
And I think one of the things that goes under recognized is the stress-free way of life. When you pay for something that you're going to use for a whole year, but you pay for it once, and then it's just zero mental space. You know what I'm saying?
That's big.
You've paid it for a year and all these different things.
I need to do that a little bit more.
I love that.
Okay, we're going up to here. Ask a new question. We'll give you new information. Appreciate that, Sean. We're going up here to Nelson. Nelson's going to ask a question. I'm going to make fun of Nelson on this one because I already read it while you were talking.
Okay.
Nelson on YouTube says, is it possible to lower the yearly premium amount before signing on the dotted line? If you have not started a policy, then sure, just pay less. Nelson.
Change the number.
Change the number. Well, you haven't started a policy.
Apply for a different number.
Just tell us that you want a different number, apparently. Nelson, give us more context here so I can be more helpful, but like change it to what? You don't have one yet. So if you need it lowered, then we'll just use a different number. Okay. Mimi says, I have one policy. It was paying off home and purchasing an auto.
Okay.
And preparing for retirement. First off, look how versatile the policy is. It's doing all of those things. I like that.
Because you're the one in charge.
Yeah. Does that sound like multiple policies should be used? Oh, well, that's a great point. First off, do you have to have a separate bank account if you'd like to use one of your bank accounts for gas and another bank account for your groceries and another bank? You don't have to do that.
That's a good way to put it back.
Yeah. So you can have one bank account and decide that I pay my car insurance and my groceries out of the same bank account. Yep. Doesn't matter to us. Now, what happens a lot of times inside building a family banking system? Good question out there, Mimi, because we end up having multiple policies. Jesse mentioned he has a handful plus. I have a handful plus of policies. They work a little bit differently because there are caps and limits and certain areas we're looking at this. Caps and limits to how much money you can put into a policy. There's different reasons for that. Also, we have multiple family members, and so we're putting policies on multiple people because a whole life policy extends and goes until someone's demise. But there are multiple people in my family, and we want to have insurance on them. So good question there. So it does not matter. That is a great question for whoever's coaching you one-on-one. So you can just be confident and convicted about how you're building your system.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with having a big one policy and you pay for everything out of it. But you're probably not going to end up with one big policy. If you practice this seriously over time, you'll probably end up with several, actually. So it's not a right or wrong answer. Do not hear that from me, of course. Maybe we'd have to just walk and talk through it. Great question there.
People are just different. Some of those analytical types, especially in the beginning, kind of think, well, I'll get a policy for this job, and then I'll get another policy and I'll use it for this. And that's fine. And you might even end up doing that.
Yeah, totally fine. Yeah. So, for instance, I have a policy because me, the wife, the kids, there's multiple policies. I have a policy that I'm more and more leaning toward. This is going to be for taxes. I'm going to pay attention to this policy specifically and utilize cash value. I'm going to save my money and spend the insurance company's money while mine still grows, income tax free, and has leverageable use. Now, I'm going to spend their money, cash value, on my taxes. That's why I'm going to sit this policy. So I'm going to use this policy, maybe that I have, as my emergency fund. It's where my money sits in the case of emergency. I'm not going to use it for anything else.
Okay.
It's my emergency one, mine, because it's the oldest and the biggest, and I have 4 kids, so it's the emergency policy. The other ones do investments. The other ones pay school bills. The other ones do taxes. Hopefully that's helpful, okay?
So follow up
What you
with
got?
Nelson there. Well, you made me
Oh,
think of something even
yeah.
by saying what you just did right there. Liz is saying she likes your merch. All right, so let's knock these things out. She says she likes your merch. Where can people get a hold of the merch?
Oh, stop, Liz. You can get a hold of me, girl. No.
And
Okay.
we'll come back to Nelson. But that thing that you actually said right there at the end of, so I'm going to ask you a question. Is your oldest policy your biggest policy?
Yes.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
See, that actually surprises me.
Yes, my oldest policy is the highest premium.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's very cool. And I think it's not necessarily
Yeah.
always the case for, but not that
No,
you can draw
sure.
standards, but it's
Yes.
interesting to me.
I know how you're thinking through it because we've been partners here for a long time and we've had policies for a long time. For me, similar to you in some ways, is as my income has risen over the course of time and I've started new policies, I've also
paying more
started
premium.
new children.
Yeah. Right.
So
And so it gets
you're right.
spread out over
yes,
more
it
people.
ends up
Yes.
getting spread out.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
So
That's why
part
every
of it.
situation's neat. So I wanted to ask that because I
Yeah.
thought it was interesting.
So my income has not outpaced the expenses, even though the income has risen. So I've had to spread
You've
mine,
exponentially grown your family
and I've
footprint.
exponentially grown my expenses. Is what happened. So I have lots of money and percentages of my income going into policies, but we also are doing. We were 2 kids less and 2 tuitions less, and rent was different 10 years ago.
Well, the list is going to keep going.
Exactly.
If you keep thinking so.
Well, no, I do make more money, but yeah.
Well,
Okay.
no.
Nelson says, I'm trying to remember my consult, so I was thinking the policy depends on the person's age. No, the policy depends on what you put into it, and age can be a factor if you are scraping the bottom, Nelson. So yes and no. I want to say no first because this is a banking system. So my question for you, if you guys could own a bank and you wanted to start a bank and build a bank, do you care what age you are? Is that what
No.
it's about? Is that
No.
what your bank is about?
You want to be profitable.
No, you want to be profitable. So how much money do you want going in your bank, in the drawer, so you can lend out? What does a bank do to make money, Jesse?
Move it.
It moves deposits out of the bank and gives loans to everyone in town. Nelson, yes or yes? The bank gets as much in as possible, not as little, because that's what you're thinking with your age, as much in as possible, lots of direct deposits all over town, lots of accounts at this bank, and they move the money out quick for house, car, credit cards, consolidation, loans. That's what a bank does. So if you're thinking about your age, you're probably thinking scarcity. I don't have tons of money. Does that? Oh, okay. Hopefully he's with me. Nelson's a good dude out there. You see that?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
I appreciate it.
now, since I assume I made my point, let me make sure I do address what you were thinking. Even though I think the thinking could be backward in terms of banking, the thinking is correct in terms of insurance. Okay. In terms of insurance cares how old you are.
Whether you smoke, what's
yes.
your diabetes, all
Yeah.
the things.
Insurance does care about that, Nelson. Cash does not care about that. Making money does not care. So we want as much money in there as possible. But if you and I are the same age and we put the same amount of premium into our policy and you smoke and I don't, well, yeah, that's going to change the death benefit.
Sure.
It doesn't change how much gas costs. It doesn't change how much we're going to do loans. It just changes the death benefit, which has an effect on the policy. Hopefully that's helpful for you.
Yep. At the end of the day, you find a number that works for you, and it should be a significant enough number to move you towards your goals.
Correct. Yes. Nelson, you got it. So it depends on the amount you put into the policy. Yep. Put some money in there. It's a bank. Put some money in there. Policy, bank, put some money in there. Great stuff. If you are watching on our Cash Compound channel on TikTok, welcome, ladies and gents. We know so many of you are in and out so quick. Double tap on the screen if you like, love, or learn something. You can keep up with how fast I talk. And then click right up there. There it is. The Cash Compound for a follow. If you click there, we've got a video behind door number 1. The link tree in the bio is going to take you to a schedule a call, cash consultation call with one of our coaches. We'd love to talk to you soon, where you can get a free walkthrough and your questions answered from someone. The 4 coaches around here, I think, that are taking calls right now. 4 coaches who do this personally. You can ask them anything. Okay. All right. So we've got a couple of people. Miss Glenda out here. She is in underwriting.
Yep.
We met her.
Beautiful.
We met her. She is a elected official. So put some
Wonderful.
respect on it. Put some respect on it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Very good. And she's in Greenville County, where we are, in South Carolina. Jesse's from North Carolina, so he doesn't know how to put some respect on it yet. So, okay. And Sean as well. Shawana is sending me direct messages, but she's in a process right now. I'm not sure if I should share it or just protect the wealthy around here, right? This is a private.
Use your discretion.
Yes. Private banking system. So not everybody gets to know everything about everybody else's business. Okay, Jesse, I want to get into this conversation with you here.
All right, let's do
and
it.
why we call whole life insurance the ideal asset. Okay, so we're going to put that on the screen for our audience that is on Zoom. And we're going to get a little bit more friendly for the visuals. There it is.
Let's do it. And it's showing up on
There it is.
YouTube as well.
Yeah, showing up on YouTube, get a little more friendly on how it looks for everybody. So I'm arranging that. But there are 8 ideals, Jesse. 8 ideals about this particular asset.
Okay.
And what it does is going to allow us to bank with it. But why? Because why is understanding the asset important? Banking is the most important. But understanding the asset from which we do it is also very important. And I think the issue is most people have a very, very skewed viewpoint of what this asset is.
Yeah, well, when you know what you want to do, the next most pertinent question is how you're going to go about it,
Yeah.
which does lead you to taking the what of banking into how are we going to implement that for ourselves. So it makes sense to me.
Let's go. So as we advance some of these slides here, we are going to remind you of the story of the goose that laid the golden egg. For those of you who remember primary school or the stories that you read to your kids or grandkids, that there was a farmer who had the goose that laid the golden egg. And this farmer was a poor man. But eventually, we're going to learn in the moral of this story, he was poor man not in his asset. He had the goose that laid the golden egg. He was poor in his mindset. Because he was poor in his mindset, he messed up the asset.
Yep.
So you guys know it, and I'm going to refresh it to you in 30 seconds. But this goose every day laid an golden egg. A golden egg each and every day. He got greedy after a while. First, he was super excited and happy, and he was able to take that golden egg to the market and trade it for lots of goods and services. Now he's got wealth moving in and out because he has a golden egg to trade. That's his means of exchange. But he said, if I go ahead and get to all of them right now, all of them, I mean, cut this goose open, I'll get to all the eggs, and then we'll just be done with it. And of course, he didn't realize what that was really going to do. This asset, the ideal asset, is like that. It's also like the lamp in 1001 Arabian Nights. You going to sing for us? That was your cue.
Nope. I'm not saying that I didn't hear it in my mind, but that doesn't mean I'm going to belt it out here in the studio.
Aladdin's lamp in 1001 Arabian Nights. Y'all know because, Robin Williams and Will Smith brought it back for us as that genie, right? The genie can grant wishes, right? What if you could have a lamp that kept on granting more wishes? That's
Right.
what a whole life policy does. Now, let's realize why this is an asset. Kiyosaki, in a lot of ways, defines an asset as a resource with economic value that an individual, corporation, or country owns or controls with the expectation that it will provide a future benefit.
Okay.
A liability, on the other hand, the antithesis word, is the future sacrifices of economic benefits that the entity is obliged to make to other entities. Now, Robert Kiyosaki said it real simple. Jesse,
Right.
help us out there.
An asset is something that puts money in your pocket, and a liability is something that takes money out of your pocket.
There we go. Okay, so here's the question. What have you heard, and what do you think everybody else? Throw in the chat. Actually, our Zoom audience. Throw in the chat right now. Sorry, I got ice in my mouth. What have you heard about whole life insurance? What does a typical average American think about whole life insurance? What have they heard that it does, it doesn't do, why it's good, why it's bad? Give us those thoughts. Nelson, Mimi, what do you say out there on YouTube if you're still there? Liz, what do you say? What does whole life and strike up in people's minds? What is it good for? Absolutely nothing.
I heard that song in my head as well. so
Jesse is
sorry.
on it today.
Yep.
Okay. Let's put this chat on the screen. I think we're all going to see it. Okay. It's expensive, right? Sean says expensive. It doesn't create a lot of cash value. Okay, I've heard that 100%. Okay, let us know on YouTube. What else? What else have you heard about life insurance? Is this asset good? Is it bad? Both of those things that Sean said on the Zoom, I would say, Jesse, is bad.
Bad place to put money.
Bad place to put
Yep.
money. Scam? A scam. I hear that on TikTok a lot, for sure. Okay. How about these? On the screen, for those of us who can see it, expensive. We got that from Sean. Poor returns, a bad investment, high fees and commissions. Jesse, people come at me
Yep.
on social media about high fees and commissions.
Mm-hmm.
Had you heard any of those things when you first got introduced to infinite banking and the tool behind it, the ideal asset?
I had, but I actually had whole life insurance just when I was an employee teacher in North Carolina. I actually did actively go out and voluntarily purchase some myself. So I liked the idea of permanent, but I did recognize that I was paying more for whole life insurance. For
More
sure.
compared to what?
Compared to term insurance, like what would been offered through my job.
Yeah. Nelson says he's heard it doesn't work. Mimi says lots of cost. Yep, we got that in there. Lots of cost associated, and you are building up your own death benefit. Okay. Yep. All right. So I think that's a blank slide here. What if there were more to it? What if there were more to it? I'm not saying that you shouldn't have those opinions in your mind. I'm saying that if you understood what whole life insurance was doing in the entire larger financial scheme, you probably change your opinion about those negative associations. That's what I would say. If you just knew more about what it was about. Now I was a Dave Ramsey guy, Jesse.
Right. I remember.
Dave Ramsey. I mean, I read his books. I've been seeing him in person. I shook that man's hand, stood in the greeting line, had him sign the book, took a picture. So I had drank the Kool-Aid, as they say in Sunday school. I drank the Kool-Aid of what Dave Ramsey was saying, and high fees and commissions and why would you borrow your own money? And all of those things were associated with how he taught. But I didn't understand banking. That was my problem. I didn't even know what banking was.
Never entered the conversation.
Never entered the conversation. Savings accounts in poor financial environments, I think in most cases, and retirement investing was all
Right.
I ever heard. Okay. What if there were more to it? Here are some of the 8 ideals. Now, here, before we get into them, give us some of those ideals. What would you say? Ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are out there, what would you say? Why is this an ideal asset? What does whole life insurance do for you? We have categorized 8 of them. We'd love for you to throw in the chat right here and say, you know what? No, whole life insurance does this, or I've heard it does this, or I heard it does this well, or I heard it's better than other things in this XYZ area. What are those ideals? What would you say? We have built this conversation out, and we do it sometimes on these AMAs, but not very often. I think it's a great time to get back to it.
I love the act of questioning.
Okay, we've got one over there on yours.
What do you think the ideals are? Liz says liquid, so it's got liquidity.
Okay, for those of you on screen here, we've got several. Okay, here it is. Sean says, I got a whole list from Sean. I'm going for it.
But he said he watched one of my videos. He's an informed gentleman, obviously.
Calm down. Calm down. Jesse's mom and Sean watched the videos, apparently. No, here we go. All right, guaranteed growth.
No, just Sean.
Would you? Right. Okay, guaranteed growth. Are you going to give him that one? Guaranteed growth?
For sure.
Okay, how about this one? Tax-free income.
Mm-hmm.
Are you good? 2 for 2. Asset protection.
Yeah, because it's insurance and you're your greatest asset, so you're protecting. Yep.
Okay. Liquid.
Yep. He's on board with Liz.
Okay. Love it. Use money more than once.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Seems kind of crazy. Control.
I love talking through that one, but yes to control, for sure.
Okay. Compounding interest.
Yep.
Continuous compounding interest. I love that word because it's alliterated and we're the cash compounder on here, because normally you hear uninterrupted compound interest, but he's got continuous compounding interest. I think we got a banking bro on the line. So I don't think he watches yours. I think he likes my stuff because look, that's alliteration.
Okay.
The cash compound right here. It's my boy. Okay. Tax-free legacy. No, hidden fees. Now that one is real particular to whole life insurance because
Yes
it can
and
be
yes.
kind of compared to some other life insurances. And honestly, when I'm hearing about whole life insurance, that is the one insurance I'm actually hearing about. The cost depends on how well you know life insurance. The costs are they're not variable; they are baked in already to the product, but it's not nearly as transparent as some other types. You can't figure out which costs are where.
You'd have to be the actuary to know that.
Yes, but it is fixed, so they don't change or go up or anything like that.
I got
Okay, all right, let's take a look at YouTube there. Mimi says, it was level forever. I love that one.
Premium not going up.
Premiums do not cost any different, okay? The charge to keep the policy is fixed. Love it. Nelson says allows you to pay expenses using OPM. That's being able to leverage and borrow from it.
Yep.
Sean says easy to manage. Easy to manage. All right. He's been looking at your stuff.
Educated.
I wonder where he found all this educate. Probably reads books.
I'd like to know.
Probably doesn't listen to books like some people. Probably reads them.
Who listens? I mean,
I'm pretty sure a lot of people listen.
I like both. I like both.
Okay. All right, very good. Let's get into some of these. Appreciate you guys' feedback out there. Number
Way
one.
more than 8. They gave us way more.
They
It's
they
good.
give us lots
Love
of
it.
things. Some of them are kind of like baked into each other.
Overlapped it.
But
Yeah,
but they
I
didn't
love it.
overlap too far. This was really good stuff. Okay, guarantees. That's one. Jesse, tell us about the guarantees in whole life insurance.
Yeah, well, Mimi said it. The premiums aren't going to go up. You're not going to reach some age and then the insurance company mail you a letter saying, well, actually, to keep this, you're going to have to pay. Nope. You've locked in a level premium amount for the whole life. Cash value is going to increase. That's another guarantee. And then the death benefit can increase. The dividend, but the way we're building these policies and when you fund them like a bank, the death benefit doesn't stay static. It grows and increases. Great
Love it.
guarantees.
There's one. How about this one? We call it constant compounding or consistent compounding, like my boy Sean out there. Jesse, tell us more.
Yeah. So the reason why there's constant compounding is because you're multiplying the money. Every time that you pay a premium dollar in cup number one, like we say, you're buying multiples of that into the future. So you're multiplying your money, literally. Reason two, you get to leverage your policy. That's leveraging the capital in cup number two, and it doesn't interrupt the growth that you already know is a guarantee.
Love it. Okay, number 3, liquidity. Jesse, take it away.
Yep, cash value is immediately available. Our definition of immediately is within 30 days. Active policy, you've paid premium 30 days from then, you are using the policy. So it's immediately available, the cash value. So it's very liquid. And then withdrawals are available as well. That kind of plays into passive income time of life scenarios. So really cool.
Dividends are surrenderable. That's
you-
another one for liquidity. Dividends can be
lots
taken.
of options later on. So living benefits, legacy benefits, all of it. Liquid.
Living, leveraging, that's kind of the same in legacy. I was trying to come up with a whole nother topic to talk about utilizing
Okay.
the same. You know how I'd be thinking.
Yeah, man.
Okay. All right. How about this one? Flexibility. I think we got this one from Sean. Yeah.
Okay. Well, the unlimited contributions then. So you have the ability, the way we structure policies, to be able to pay. And I actually think this could go kind of to some of what Nelson was talking about earlier when we were discussing premiums and you were helping him with that. The idea of getting as much premium as you can into the policies. So we do build policies with a lot of flexibility. You can pay extra premiums even above and beyond your regular scheduled ongoing premiums. So there's flexibility to be able to do that. Guaranteed line of credit. So you got a guaranteed access. That's a flexible access. And then the repayment of that is unstructured, meaning the collateral when you take a policy loan is the death benefit itself. So you get to control when to pay that back, how to pay that back, if even to pay that back. So very flexible.
Okay. Passive income.
So there's an improvement to your income statement because the dollars you've paid in premium have entered this tax-free access environment. So come passive income time, you can withdraw up to your cost basis tax-free. Then you can transition to loans tax-free. You can surrender. So you've got lots of options to play into your passive income or your retirement income time of life. And you're using the cash value and the dividends. And you can still have growth on the policy at the same time, which is amazing. You're still rendering a death benefit. So passive income, very strong game. And then, of course, I'll throw in building a system of these policies over your lifetime certainly plays into the passive income game in a bigger way, because then once you realize that a policy can give you these benefits as this ideal asset, how many of those would you want to have?
Let's go. Okay, Mimi out there says, I'm reading Miss Yellen's book. It's very helpful. Jesse, you read that one?
I have not read that one. I'm aware of it, have not read it.
Who reads? Okay, I've listened to it, ladies and gentlemen. So yes, when you're thinking about some of the places to go, we always want to point you back to the source, Becoming Your Own Banker, 5th edition by Nelson Nash. And one of his proteges was Pamela Yellen. Pamela's still with us. Nelson passed and graduated on to the next life about 5.5 years ago. But Ms. Yellen, she started the phrase and coined the term bank on yourself. Mm-hmm. Bank on yourself. So that's the book Mimi's talking about. I'd highly recommend it, but it has a tendency to make you not understand we're going to use life insurance. And the reason for that is partially because of her marketing background. She's very good at it, but she doesn't want to scare people by having them learn too much about or run away because she said life insurance too much. So she doesn't really get into details and technicalities that Nelson's asking right here about life insurance. She doesn't get into that. She gets on what problems it's going to solve, which is awesome. If you're banking on yourself, utilizing properly designed whole life insurance, you're going to be able to accomplish the goals of retirement, of vacationing, of passing on homes and legacy building and stuff like that. That's how she focuses her conversation. And she's going to help people convert things in their mind, at least, convert things that are retirement plans into life insurance policies and annuitize them and things like that. So you can have a long-term stream of income, which is where we are right here. So I'd recommend the book for sure. It's not the first one I'd read or the only one I'd read, but it is really great. And she learned it from Nelson. She even talks about Nelson once or twice in the book. All right, Jesse.
I commend the continued education. I keep reading too.
Yes. Okay. Privacy. Yeah. How about this one?
The ideal asset is definitely going to be a private one. So you can have creditor protection. You should know and you should be aware of what your state does and how it approaches that. But there's creditor protection because the asset itself is life insurance. So that makes it different from so many other entities that are out there. And then what you've put down for regulation free, I would actually ask the question there of what's the significance there of regulation free when it comes to, I understand that, and people ask, well, about credit scores sometimes and things like that. And
there's a lot of things that could mean, right?
Right.
So regulation free could be in the credit score arena, but also remember that your assets in terms of your bank accounts and your what is the word there?
I know the example
exposure.
You made me think of.
The exposure of your assets is not the same.
Right, and the information. Like you've talked before about how we know that President Joe Biden has life insurance, but that doesn't mean that we can know amounts and things like that.
That is correct.
Right,
it is a private asset. Okay, so this is just like we're going to go through Abraham Lincoln's childhood home, and we're going to guess at what it looked like. And you wonder sometimes as you're going through some sort of private museum or home, like, I wonder if their bed was really there, whatever. It's like, we don't know exactly because it was private. They didn't just let people in when they used to live here before it was a museum. So we recreated as best we could. Or this is what it looked like the day they died because people came in here and at that point we can kind of see, but your policies are not in a commercial banking environment. It's not a government deal. It's not a qualified plan. It cannot be levied, taken from you in most cases, in most states. It is a private asset. We talked a minute ago about unlimited contributions. There's not a cap on how much money you can put inside life insurance policies because, the government says up until $22,000, that's it. Once you hit $22,000, $23,000, that's the most you can put in your qualified plan or 401k this year. Or pay your kids without taxes or something like that. That is not how life insurance works. It's not a government creation. It is regulation free. It is non-qualified.
Right.
Non-qualified. Okay, there we go. Maybe we should get more clear about that as we build out these slides.
No, thanks for answering that for me.
How about this one? Tax considerations. Everybody out there, Jesse, remember, we're talking about how whole life insurance has a bad rap. Lots of people have heard lots of different things, lots of crazy things about it. Maybe true, maybe not true.
Mostly not true.
Mostly not true, but I think these things are pretty positive. Jesse, take it away. What is this?
Yeah, for sure. So the growth that's within a policy technically is tax deferred, but the access that you have to the capital in a policy is tax free. So you can access tax free capital during your lifetime for financing things, banking, like we talk about. And then when it comes time for passive income, you're doing that tax free, like we described earlier. And then the transition from one generation to heirs or beneficiaries or charity or wherever it is that you're designating the death benefit to go, that occurs income tax free too.
Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. How about them apples? I think this is the last one of our 8 ideals. Ladies and gentlemen, this Thursday we've been going through the 8 ideals for the asset that's behind our private banking systems. Our private banking systems are built with whole life insurance from mutual companies that participate in dividends and are strategically structured by confident and expert professionals like ourselves to get the cash from the jump right away. So if you want a policy and a conversation about a policy like that for you and your family, then get on our phone calls. Okay, so go ahead and click that link there on TikTok. Subscribe, go into the description and find us at saveandspendsystem.com. Saveandspendsystem.com for more information and a free video, long form, 55 minutes, shows you some numbers but doesn't overwhelm you, shows you colors, shows you pictures so you can understand how you can not only participate in the previous 7 ideals, but the last one we have for you, a high savings rate. Jesse.
Absolutely. So premiums paid into a policy, they're safe is the first thing that we would qualify having a high savings rate as, meaning that it's going to have a high savings rate, it's going to grow, it's going to compound, but it's not at risk. So it's a safe way to be able to do that. And here's an important one. We were talking about this earlier today, inflation. Paying premiums into a policy or a system of policies is a great hedge against inflation because we've already discussed how one premium dollar is creating multiple dollars in the future. Well, if you ask yourself what a candy bar cost 50 years ago or 5 years ago versus today and what it might cost 5 years from now or 50 years from now, to hedge against inflation, putting premium dollars into this system is a great way to do that.
You really think about that with candy bars. First off, 50 years ago, what year was that?
That's a real question. So just say 1975. Round
Okay,
1975.
First off, for all of you folks like me, did you realize 1975 was 50 years ago? Because I know you thought it was 1950. Not even close. All right, 1975, coming up on 50 years ago. I have a guess. We've got one of our friends here on the, maybe she can help us, who's probably around, I'm not saying who, but probably around 50 years ago to buy candy bars. I have a feeling a candy bar.
You were talking to me about being respectful earlier. Keep going. By all means, please keep speaking.
Just saying. 50 years ago, I'm assuming a candy bar was 10 cents. 15 cents.
I think it's... Yeah,
20 cents.
I thought of 10, 15, yeah.
Something like that.
Not a
Jesse,
quarter.
when's the last time you bought a candy? Look down or left or right at the checkout to see what the candy bar, because I know people like you who live off the land.
Never.
Right, get out of here. I'm buying at least 3 a week, first off. Okay. The candy bars that I am looking at right now are... Sean, what are we dealing with, Sean?
I mean,
These
what
candy
are
bars?
they? $2?
Yeah, $2.29. I think it was $2.29
Okay,
the other
gotcha.
day. Maybe that was a king size. I think it was a king size. But I'm talking
It
about
says king size. I mean, sure. Okay.
which is the same size it was when 50 years ago when our parents were buying it when they were 5 years old.
Correct.
And they saved up all week or whatever
Yes.
and paid 10, 15 cents,
And 5
which doesn't
kids were
buy
splitting it.
anything now. People, put your money in the right place. Put your money in an environment that buys future dollars and lets you leverage more and more of that all the time. It's not that crazy, but you do need to understand banking. For everyone out there on the internet who's seeing us for the first, second, or third time, who wants to ask us 101 questions about life insurance, you might miss it because you're not thinking about banking. That's who I was and where I was when I first heard about this, because I thought it had some trick to do with an insurance company. or it had to do with, well, I have to put in $10 million I don't have, or you probably need to be 50 years old. None of that has to do with banking.
Right.
None of it. Nelson, you with me? None of that has to do with banking. Banking has to do with where money is stored
Mimi,
and where it flows.
Who still eats candy bars?
Get out of here, Mimi. Whatchamacallit? Not whatchamacallit. That's the name of a candy bar. Caramello?
No.
Fifth Avenue? Delicious.
A chocolate chip protein cookie from the Jocko Fuel store that I was telling you about.
Oh, okay.
With a spoon of peanut butter and a glass of milk.
Milk? Who drinks milk? I haven't drank milk from a cow in a long time.
People with a more formidable size than others.
I mean...
Right, Sean? Sean, look at his face.
I ain't had milk like that in a long time. Okay, Nelson, you're with us? You got it? Okay, Nelson, we're going to see you back next week, or in... Hershey's Cookies and Cream is a legit candy bar. Okay. Is a legit candy bar. Appreciate that. Whoever's saying that over there, Team Meadows, or maybe Ryan's over there next door, man in our production. We appreciate you guys.
Yes.
Okay. We're coming up on time here. Let us know what other questions, comments, concerns you have. Oh, see, Nelson is plant-based now. Nelson ain't drinking that cow's milk.
Chewing spinach leaves. Got it.
It's not exactly what he said, but it could be possible. Who knows? So here's the thing about
I don't know what dessert is when you're plant-based. What is dessert when you're plant-based?
Strawberry
raw honey
shortcake.
Maybe.
I had Greek yogurt and granola and strawberries at Panera this morning. Is that close enough?
That sounds great.
Yeah, it was good. The more honey they put in it, the better it would be.
That sounds great. He laughed.
Okay, Nelson. Okay, we're going to see you back next week, next Thursday, ladies and gentlemen, each and every Thursday, 3:30 Eastern. If we see you back next week, this is what's going to happen. I already know I'm going to make fun of everybody. That's what I do. I always have so much fun with this. Nelson's going to go back to asking us about insurance. He's going to forget about banking. Everyone does. And they go back to asking about, how much did I need to put? And it's like, you pick the number.
You pick.
Yeah, I'm telling you, they do it every time. Wait, so I can get to cash value? Yeah, it didn't change between last week and this week. It's been the same for 200 years. Yep, you can still get it.
When I'm having these one-on-one consultations, one line I found myself saying when it comes to, the insurance, when we are talking about this ideal asset, is I reiterate that this ideal asset has been around longer than you and I have been alive together, combined. I don't know. I just feel like that's an impactful way to be able to remind
100%.
us of it was here before we were. We just need to recognize it for what it is and is capable of being used as, which is that private banking entity.
All right. Nelson out there says, I'll do better. It's okay, Nelson. We have to make fun of the process. We got to fall in love with the process of teaching people what's going on here, because it takes a mind shift, doesn't it? It takes a mindset shift. It took me a long time to understand what banking was. I don't think I understood banking until about 4 years into having a policy.
Okay.
I say that. I wasn't using it right. I was stealing the peas.
I was years into it.
Yeah, I was years into it before I understood. Now it's curse of knowledge. Curse of knowledge is once you get it and learn it, you can't unlearn it. So it's like it's easy for me to see now. But most people are like, hold on, what did you say we had to pay in premium? I didn't say anything. Y'all trying to, no, I didn't say nothing. Okay, very good. Nelson says, I need to talk to you again. Great, get on our calendar. Okay, you can find me at the same place. If you have my number, text it. It'll come straight to me if you've ever talked to me. Jesse's the same thing, right? Hit him back over text.
Yep.
Or start from scratch if you don't know where you were, and we'll even point you toward the right person if necessary, or just start a new conversation. SaveAndSpendSystem.com. All right, Jalise says,
got a comment.
I intend on getting in touch with you. Wonderful. That's what we do. It's a free consultation. Jesse, are you charging people to talk to them?
No.
Absolutely free. Okay. I do want to work with you guys. I'm interested in joining the ecclesia. Okay. You know that word.
New Testament word.
There we go. Joining the congregation. I'm also an insurance agent myself. So if you guys are looking for extra help, not just extra help, extra help.
I need to hear about this extra help.
I need extra help. That's went to a second chiropractor yesterday because I need extra help. It's lower back.
If you need an adjustment, just ask me.
Sean, what is going on out there? We're working here.
Furniture rearrangement.
She's interrupting. Okay.
Oh, no.
Hello.
Furniture.
We've got people, we can see people
up.
in a couple places. All right. Shout out to our Cash Compound audience here on TikTok. Again, almost said Twitter. Yes, go ahead and let us know. Okay, very good. Nelson, yeah, get back on our calendars here. SaveandSpendSystem.com. Because we just had some new fresh blood jump in here, we won't leave right away because we always give precedence to our Zoom audience. They can see things that sometimes we can't figure out in the production room. So if you have questions, go ahead and ask them. Throw them in the chat again or emphasize that we need... Sean says, I don't drink milk. Sean's on my team, not on yours.
Okay, that's fine. Awesome.
Team almond milk. Let's go.
Nobody's perfect.
Let's go. Team almond milk and lower back pain. Is that why I have lower back pain?
Maybe.
Okay.
My back's
Because I'm not
strong.
I got to get this core connected again. I got to do some planks, some Supermans. Okay. What else do you guys need from us this afternoon? Sean with the list. Sean comes in as our A-plus person. Sean came in with the list
pulling
today.
Up more chairs. Let's dive in here. What's
what else do you guys need to know? Where are you on the journey now? What do you know? Do you have two policies? His and hers policies? What is represented on the sleeves? You know, tell us about these tats. You know, anything. We're here for you. This is not an ask me anything. It's ask you something.
Right.
AYS. Ask you something.
Call in 5. Does that mean you're supposed to be on the phone in 5 minutes?
Is it mine?
I
don't think it's mine.
We should be checking our phones.
Yeah, we're like, am I? Who's got this call?
I mean, we're getting the
Is it Jonah?
notifications.
Is it my
obviously.
brother? My phone is literally live on TikTok right now. So
Right.
hope it's not me. Not that I don't want to talk to you. I just don't know. Feel like sometimes it gets like, oh no, who's got that call? We have a round robin system on SaveandSpendSystem.com. And so Jesse and I, my brother Jonah, who's not live very often, but one of the main components, our backbones around here and one of the coaches.
Definitely.
As well as one banking beauty who you might get on the rotation, Alyssa. We're all doing this personally, practically, and can answer your questions. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to roll out here in a second. I think we're about done.
Check our phones.
Okay.
Thank you,
Underwriting,
Nelson.
and
Appreciate you.
Nelson, yes. Nelson, okay. Remember, if you want to have a bank, how much money would you put in it? And the only way for your bank to make money, it's weird because your bank actually, the teller with the number in the drawer grows automatically, but you still want to send out loans. So I just want as much money as I can. So I can send out as many loans as I can, as fast as I can, for the best interest I can, and then I become wealthy. I don't lose my money. Okay, good questions. On the one-on-one calls, that's definitely where you ask the insurance questions because we do now need to know your age, what state you live in. Do you smoke? Do you have dyslexia? I don't know. Is that a thing? Do they care about that?
Dyslexia is a thing, but
they don't care about that. I am not good at the paperwork. So if you have dyslexia, you can call us.
Or can you?
That's true. Touch-tone phone. Dial our number backward. Okay, cool. All right, Nelson, if I've got your number, I'll find you and I'll tell somebody. If I can remember in 10 minutes, I'll go check in. I'll make sure whoever talked to you last or whatever, we can re-up that convo.
Yep.
Okay, I don't want to shout it out right now because if 10 of you call me, I'll be mad because I'm supposed to talk to Sean or something in a second. Secondly is everyone will ask me the questions I just answered. It's like, you weren't listening to anything, were you? That's what people do. I like that. Peace out, everybody. Find us on YouTube, subscribe, follow us on the website for events like this, and get on the Zoom. TikTok, go ahead and follow and share and like and comment. All right, peace out, everybody. Sean, we're going to get somebody on the phone with you in a second. Glenda, thank you, ma'am. All your questions were answered. Wonderful. You didn't even ask any. That means we did a great job, Jesse. All right.
We did.
Mom, come pick me up. I'm done.